So yeah, let's get this started because I want to be respectful of Bradley's time. You know, he generously volunteered to come teach us something, and let's just get it going. So he's someone that I connected with not too long ago. The leader of a mastermind group that I'm part of connected us, and we immediately hit it off. And one of the coolest things about Bradley is that he's like a serial entrepreneur, sure. But one of his businesses, for example, is called Magic Kids. So he teaches kids like audio stories, music, meditation, learning activity library, and that immediately just demonstrated to me at least that he is a heart-centered entrepreneur. And we have so many bro marketers in the industry who just want to like get more leads, bro, or something like that. But I felt like Bradley, despite looking like a Viking berserker, he has the heart for this. He's also the founder of Majik Media, and he's created like tons of viral videos, comedy commercials, even. He has like world-class audio meditation library, held over 1,000 transformative workshops, built out dozens of communities on mighty networks, and all in all, he coached thousands of creators to basically bring their vision to life. And in 2016, Bradley left social media for good to focus on real world connections instead, which I can totally resonate with. And he left social media when it was, I bet to the best of my knowledge, not so cool to leave social media because back then it wasn't as competitive. So, but even then, it had its downsides for sure. And I think he's going to talk a lot about these things anyway. But Bradley's shtick is about relationship-based marketing, something that I'm also a huge fan of. And in 2021, he also, partnered with one of his sons, with his son Soren. Did I pronounce it
You got it
correctly?
right, Soren.
Not
Yeah,
Sauron, not the bad guy Sauron
that's
from
not
Lord of the
that's
Rings,
right.
but Soren to launch Magic Kids, and this is pretty cool. So with that being said, Bradley, show us your magic. Take it away. And by the way, guys, leave like I'm gonna be manning the chat. So if anything's unclear or you have a question, just add it to the chat, and we'll have some time at the end to ask Bradley some questions as well. So Bradley, take it away.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much for hosting this, for inviting everybody out here, and for all of you showing up. My intentions for this is I'm going to share my brief story of what it was like leaving social media 8 years ago. And then we're going to dig into the 19 relationships-based marketing strategies that I've been implementing for Magic Media, for Magic Kids, for all of our Magic partnerships. And I also just want to celebrate. We just launched a brand new sport on Planet Earth. So I've been making digital content for 20 years, and we just launched with a big festival on Sunday this brand new sport called Play Chi Ball. So you can check that out later on too, just to see we're doing a lot of different things under the Magic umbrella to spread magic around the world. And one of those things that I love to do, this is the 36th workshop that I've done of this thriving in business without social media workshop. And so it's really awesome to just see so many people come to this. I've had over 5,000 people join this workshop live in the last 2 years since I did the original version of it. And so there's clearly a lot of people that don't enjoy being on social media. So let's just, can everybody, can you all see my screen? Can you see these slides? We good? Beautiful. Perfect. So my first question I always like to ask, because the why is not big enough, we're not going to make any changes. So why do you wish to escape from social media? Share in the chat. What are your reasons for wanting to get off social media, to find another way to bring your work out into the world? It's a time suck. Yes, it is. How many hours of your life have been spent scrolling that wall? Hate the daily grind. It seems useless and like a waste of time. It's time consuming. It's not genuine. You don't own it. That's right. You don't own it. You don't own what's on there. Comparison city. Yeah, it doesn't make you feel good. False contact. Beautiful. These are all very similar reasons for the many people who have come through this workshop. It's always interesting to read it though, because I'm just amazed at how many people dislike social media and yet we keep doing it. And that's because, like me, there's a lot of fears that hold us back, fears of missing out, fears of not being relevant anymore if we were to leave social media. Um, yeah, ADHD likes it too much. It is a good drug, that's for sure. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you absolutely hate social media, 10 being you couldn't imagine life without social media because you love it so much. Where do you fall? How much do you enjoy being on social media? This is all right. We got a 3, we have a 4, -10. That is the lowest I've seen, Alan. Congratulations. That's a new record. We've had lots of zeros, but never a -10. We got a 3. I deleted 4 months ago. I didn't miss a single day. Way to go. Uh, we got a 5 out of 10. I mean, that's pretty high. I would say the average for this, how about 2? The average for this question is usually around a 3 or a 4. So you're all right in the average bracket. So for me, why I left social media. I contemplated leaving for 3 years. I actually started a group on Facebook, which I'm not sure if it's still there, and it was called Evacuate Facebook because that was my main social media site. Because when social media started, it was different. It was a different beast. It was a different algorithm. We were actually all connecting with people we cared about. We were following friends. We were staying connected to family. If we moved away, I moved 5,000 kilometers from all my best friends and all my family when I was 19. And so Facebook really kept me in touch with people. And those were like the beautiful glory days of social media where it actually felt good to be on there. And then over time, it just became this other thing that was divisive, that they trained the algorithm to keep us hooked to it and addicted to it. And then we had to pay more and more and more and more money in order for the people who wanted to see what we had to share to actually see what we had to share. So I have 6 main reasons. These were the reasons I told myself as to why I wanted to leave, and I'm sure you can relate. Rather than connect us, it divides us. Rather than being inspired, we feel anxious. Rather than building friendships, we get followers. And when you really think about that, it's kind of strange. Rather than creating more connection, we have more loneliness than ever before. Rather than feeling safe to share our thoughts, we censor them. Or if in the modern world now, that was back then I wrote that. And now they're being censored for us. And rather than being free, we become addicted to our devices. We're missing out on a lot of life because of the way that we are engaging with these platforms. And so I had a final straw moment. Usually, any great turning point for us in life, there's a final straw where everything shifts and where we can't take it anymore. And for me, this was 8 years ago, actually almost to the day. It would have been 8 years ago in September, so sometime around now. And I had just had my baby in June, so I was 3 months a father. We just launched a new branch of Majik Media. It was called the Great E-Course Adventure, where we built this amazing online training that was like Indiana Jones meets Saturday Night Live in an online course creation training. We spent 9 months producing this incredible course. It was like a comedy business course. And I'd finally found a way that I could merge my inner artist with my inner entrepreneur. And it felt incredible. And so I'm sitting up on this mountain by myself. I'm watching the sun go down, and I'm just having this beautiful moment of reflection on just how stoked I am for everything about my life in that moment. And then I caught myself in my mind, I started to catch myself rewriting the post in my head about the moment I was in and how I would share it on Facebook later on that night. And it was in that moment I realized the moment was no longer mine. Mark Zuckerberg owned my moment, and it felt really invasive and disgusting to feel like that big octopus arm was reaching in and grabbing my precious moment. And it was right there and then that I was like, this feels so out of alignment with the freedom that I desire for my life and the freedom I desire for my consciousness. I have to leave. And so I went home, I told my wife, I messaged all the people that matter to me on social media, and I peaced out. And that was weird. That was really weird to go from being all in on social media for about 10 years. All my marketing was social media, and then to delete my accounts. And it was very, very strange because I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I had fears about leaving, but I didn't know what to expect. And what happened was very strange. I'd invested so much time, thousands of hours, I'm sure, of my energy and my life into these platforms and then I deleted it. It was like being erased. It wasn't like my friends on social media called me. They didn't text me. I wasn't getting invites to parties. I wasn't being invited to potlucks. People weren't picking up the phone and be like, "Hey, dude, I saw you left. What's going on with your life?" When my family and I got sick, nobody was bringing us soup. It was like, and we were just 3 years living on the island I'm on right now on the west coast of BC. And so we didn't have a big community at that time. And that was weird because I'd invested so much time and energy into creating friendships on social media and none of it was real. It was all an illusion. And so I had to rethink my entire strategy for life on like, okay, what is community? What does it mean to have real friends? How do I do life in a way that feels in alignment with the kind of life I want to live? And as a result of those questions, I learned a lot of really interesting things. I accidentally started a men's group almost in that same kind of year, 12 months after leaving. We're called Man Ventures, and for 6.5 years, we met every Tuesday. And whatever guys would show up would choose what the adventure is the following week. In fact, my kids' publishing company, Magic Kids, happened as a result of that group. 12 men got together in my studio here, and we all wrote children's stories one night. And then we read our stories to each other, and the story that I wrote that night became the first story that we published at Magic Kids. And from there, it snowballed. We've built an app, and we're doing the best audio stories possible. We've licensed more than 700 amazing kid songs and kids meditations and curriculum, and we'll be getting into the 25,000 families in the next couple weeks here because of a partnership. And all that happened because of my men's group, because of these real world relationships. And it went further than that. We weren't just getting together on Tuesdays. If a man had a baby in the group, we would show up, we'd chop their winter supply of firewood, we would bring meal trains to them. And my wife also, feeling isolated as a new mom on a new island, she started what began as a small women's group, which has grown into over 1,200 local mamas on our island, moms and grandmas, and it's called the Mama Hive. And it's become this incredibly supportive space for the mothers and grandmothers of this island that I live on. And so we really focus on building real community. Even though I'm on the internet, I've been on the internet for 20 years building my businesses. It felt really important to just ground into like reality over here where we were when I left social media. And it's been absolutely transformational to focus on that. And it's redirected my entire philosophy for business. So what I've learned over the years is that the world doesn't need more social media. There's new platforms coming out all the time. We don't need that. What we need is more social connection. And that was an epiphany I had, especially during the pandemic days where everybody's locked up and they're being isolated and pulled away from the people they love. That's crazy making. And social media, even though we're more connected, we're actually more disconnected from the reality of each other. And we need to come back to each other. It's really important. And this is why I'm so excited about our launch of Chi Ball at playchiball.com, because this little ball that we have, this little wicker ball, this is a vehicle for connection. It doesn't matter what you believe about politics. It doesn't matter who you're affiliated with, associated with. All we're doing is trying to hit this ball and keep it off the ground. Period. It's amazing. It creates connection. So my question to you, again, if the why is not big enough, you're not going to change a damn thing today. So let's just say you quit social media tomorrow, or social media platforms went down, or they froze your account and you had no choice but to leave. They exiled you because of something you said, thought, or posted. What would you do with all the extra time if you were not on social media? What would you do? Write it down. And Gabrielle, yes, that's almost every mom on Salt Spring Island is a part of this group. Gabrielle, read books. What else would you do, everybody? These are the things that you tell yourself you don't have enough time to do because you're giving your time away. There's a leak, and your energy is leaking, your attention and focus is leaking because of these platforms. Kelly would read. Alan would read and write more. Read, write, and walk more. Beautiful. Definitely more and just uh, big picture, focus on big picture stuff. Go outside and meet people. It's fun meeting people. Walk and look around. What a concept. Just like look around. More webinars. Beautiful. Now that you get your time back, you'd be reading, meditating, hiking, creating ritual time with yourself, and think more. Yes, thinking time's a wonderful thing. I schedule thinking time in. Okay, so these are the things you would do because perhaps you maybe tell yourself you don't have enough time. So let's look at this. So 8 years later, um, so I play golf 6 days a week at first daylight. Like today, I jogged 9 holes with my dog at my golf course. I play the Vancouver Golf Tour as a pro. Um, my business has grown year after year since leaving. I've made more money year after year as a result of leaving social media. My work days went from 9 to 12 hours a day to usually 6 to 6.5 hours a day. I get more time. I'm on daddy papa adventure mode every afternoon when I finish work. Like it's amazing what happened when I took back my power and my time and my attention and focus. So here's the magic formula. Are you wasting your time? So I want you to all be really real with yourself here. So how much money do you think you're making from social media? Your time invested on social media. That's the question number one. Are you making, say, $1,000 per month, do you think, from business that you're generating? Are you making $0? A lot of people who come to this workshop are like, I don't think I'm making anything from my time on social media. So you can share in the chat or write it down on a piece of paper or on your computer. Okay, so good Lord, not even a dollar, $0. Don't worry, you're not alone. The majority are making nothing from social media. Out of the 5,000 plus people that have been here live with me, almost everybody's making nothing. It's like going and playing slot machines. If we just keep posting, maybe we'll post something that everybody loves and it goes viral, and then our whole life will change. It's like going to the casino and thinking you're gonna walk away from that casino adventure being able to buy a mansion. It's just not gonna happen. So that's the same as social media. So money from social media. Let's just pretend you make $1,000 a month from like clients and sales. And let's look at how many hours are you putting into social media on a weekly basis. That's posting, commenting, the mindless scroll, the taking your phone to the bathroom with you, the random checks that steal your focus away, and then you have to take 5 or 10 minutes to regain your focus, all that stuff. How many minutes, how many hours per week do you think it is? I would say the average for people to come to this workshop is about 10 hours a week of social media time. So Frank says about 7 hours a week. So what is that? 28 hours a month. 28 hours a month that's no small chunk. If you were working, 40-hour weeks, that's almost a whole week of your 40-hour work week per month that's going into social media for how much return on that investment. So let's just go with the average of it's $1,000 a month that's generated and it's 10 hours a week, so 40 hours a month. That is a $25 an hour job that you're doing on social media. And if you are a professional, if you're aiming to be a professional, somebody who gets paid well to do the work that you do in the world, then you should be either leaving social media and taking back your time and energy, or you should be hiring somebody for $25 an hour that can be doing all your posting for you. You don't need to be over there. It's an energy leak in your business and it's costing you a shit ton of money. So let's carry on. Everybody write that down. Be honest with yourself. How much money, how many hours, what's your hourly rate? If it's not more than 100 or 200 or $500 an hour that you're generating from social media, you're going to like what I have to share next. Okay, so how do you do business without social media? What do you do? I have one word. Every year, New Year's Eve, I pick a word to themify my year, something that I really want to focus on getting good. And the year that I left, the first 2 years after leaving social media, I had the same word 2 years in a row. It was my main focus. It was my objective for business, for life, for everything I did. And it was relationships. How do we be in relationship? How do we focus on relationships? I mean, back in the old days, business was built upon relationships. We can get extremely wealthy by only nurturing 5 to 10 relationships. In fact, we can do it better. We can be more fulfilled. And I've built my entire company. All my businesses are based on relationships. And now we're going to share the 19 relationships based marketing strategies. This is where you're going to want some pen and paper to be able to write some notes because I promise you're going to have at least one or two new strategies that you can use to get off social media. So, number one, email marketing. It's the most important thing. Your email list is your gold. Those are your people. Treat them like a friend. I've seen so many people who are so sporadic with their emailing to their audience. And I would just say a good friendship is based on communication and connection, right? Your email list is the exact same as building a friendship. If you have a great friend that you only message every 3 months or once a month, you're only checking in with them a little bit, or you're only messaging them when you want something, like to sell them something, that's not like a true friendship. And friendship is like there's this value that just keeps getting exchanged. And so your email list, whether your email marketing is once a week or twice a week, that would be the rhythm I would suggest. Um, I would recommend, I mean, I email my list at least twice a week, always providing value, trying to find ways that I can serve and support them based on what's happening inside of my Magic Mind community. And it really pays dividends because if you're not emailing your audience regularly, you're out of their consciousness. When they have the problem that you're perfect to solve, if you're not regularly in their field and in their orbit, they're not going to think about you when that problem surfaces. But if on a regular basis you're sending them nuggets of gold, they're going to think of you first. So your email marketing is so important. If you don't have an email list, or if you're sporadic with your email list, or if you haven't emailed them in 6 months, get back to it. Set yourself a schedule, batch that work, have 4 hours a week where you're just focused on loving up your audience, coming up with content. My personal strategy with my email marketing is I have 3 calls a week inside of my Magic Mind. And these are coaching calls. And I open with a sermon every week, which I give a business workshop, mini workshop, a talk. I talk about an update, what's happening at Magic Media, one of the businesses we're building. I talk about a fail, an experiment, etc. And that mini sermon, when I'm done, I clip that. I put the video version on YouTube for that little sermon. I put the audio version, add my intro, outro. That becomes a podcast episode. I then take that audio, run the transcript through a program called Descript. I take that transcript and then I run it through ChatGPT to give me an edited article version. My newsletter gives you the article, the podcast, and the video, and I'll do 2 or 3 of those a week. And it's such an easy workflow. It doesn't take a ton of time for me to prepare those newsletters, and it provides so much value for my audience. So that's my workflow. It's pretty amazing what we can do with tech right now. And I'm going to just say that's number one priority is build your email list and then love your email list as much as possibly. So this next one is the number one strategy I have for building my email list. And that is to craft and tour a signature workshop. So what is a signature workshop? Hi, welcome to my signature workshop. This one workshop, I just keep making better. And then I tour it virtually and in person as often as I can. I've done this one 36 times in the last 2 years. It's grown my email list by well over 5,000 people. And it's pretty amazing because that's 36 hours of teaching time. That's less than 36 hours of actually administrative time because we've set up systems. We have a media page. When somebody books me, like today, I sent Saba to my media page. All the pre-written copy was there, affiliate links, how to promote, all the things. Everything was right there in one button, booking the link for today's date, everything. So there's almost no administrative work when I book one of these sessions for somebody to host me to. And then I just keep making this workshop better and better. So your signature workshop, so we all know about building traffic. You do podcast interviews, you post on social media, you do YouTube, etc. We all have ways that we're driving traffic. Well, what is your base camp? A lot of people will do like a free PDF or a free ebook or maybe a guided audio or a video or something like that. My base camp, and the base camp I would suggest everybody has, is a signature workshop. You try and drive as many people into your free 60-minute workshop. And then at the end of that, you call them to adventure, and you might have a few different ways that you're charging. So it might be your one-on-one coaching, you might have a live training, it might be an audio library, a membership, evergreen, etc. There's different ways to get up the mountain to your ultimate transformation. And I would suggest that your signature workshop's the best way, it's the most effective way to grow your audience. As I said, I've done 36 of these, over 5,000 people, and that's like what, 30, maybe 70 to 75 hours of actual labor. When was the last time you put 75 hours of your time into social media and it grew your audience by over 5,000 people without spending a fortune? My guess is zero of you, because nobody from this workshop has ever had those results from doing social media. So what's included in your signature workshop? Number one, your story. So you're going to tell the part of your story that is relevant to the topic you're teaching in your signature workshop. You're going to talk about the low points, your turning points, and what's happened since those things happened. And that grounds people into what is your core philosophy. So today, you're learning my core philosophy as around relationships, that we can build our dream businesses and be way more fulfilled with the work that we're doing in the world and the people that we're serving by just focusing on relationships. So that's my philosophy. That's kind of the first 15 minutes of the workshop, 20 minutes, and then we give the experience. So the experience right now is that you're having is you're learning these 19 relationships based marketing strategies. So you're going to have your own experience that leaves people like, holy shit, I gave an hour of my time. I'm walking away with a new perspective. I had a breakthrough. I feel like I can do something new, and I've started a new path up a new mountain. And then there's the call to adventure. Call to adventure is like, hey, if you want to continue this journey, here's my paid things that you can buy. No pressure. You already had a result. But if you want to continue on the journey, here's where we can go. And this is what the top of the mountain looks like. So speaking of which, speaking of call to adventures, I used to do this at the end, but I found that it's more appropriate to do it right now. So I'm just going to share a little call to adventure. So this is the signature workshop training. We're actually live right now. We started week one about a week ago. But we essentially, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies, if you haven't heard of him, you should check out Tad's work. He's amazing. He and I partnered on this. It's basically a 90-day program that we are teaching you, taking you through the process of crafting your signature workshop so that you can learn these relationships-based marketing strategies and apply them to your business. And so we're supporting you with designing your niche, designing the workshop, so the story, the philosophy, the breakthrough experience, and then the call to adventure. We help you craft your offer, the landing pages, the marketing copy. We help you design the experience. So like the slides that you're seeing today are all custom designed. I built them from scratch. So we're going to help you create a creative spin. And if you've seen any of my past work, you'll know that like we go all out on being creative at Majik Media. That is a part of the magic sauce that helps you stand out. So we're going to help you design your experience. We're going to teach you how to market it. You're actually going to deliver your workshop live during the training. And then we're going to show you how to tour, how to set up the media page, the outreach emails, build your hub list so you have a big Rolodex of people that you're going to start reaching out to, and then take it on tour. So it all wraps up December 5th. You can join this anytime. It's available inside of my Magic Mind membership. And here is the PDF gift for today that I'm going to offer. And I'll drop these in later on today as well. But I have an online community here that includes 3 live sessions a week, and that signature workshop training is included in it. I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of creators over the years. This is all my courses, all my creator templates, the templates that we use for all of our clients and partners, etc., included in this. And the Magic Mind, I'll post that link. You can check it out later. It's all in my email newsletter if you want to scroll to the bottom. So that's my marketing shtick. If you're inspired to create a signature workshop, I'd highly recommend it. It's the most effective marketing tool I've figured out to date. And I look forward to the day that somebody else has one that's even better. But for now, that's the one. That's the one that I go to. So the next up, this has changed my life. So I may not look like it, but between 2009 and 2012, I taught more than 500 meditation workshops. I did retreats around the world in Peru and Mexico and Hawaii. And then I got burnt out from teaching too much meditation. I just kind of lost my passion for it. But I impacted the lives of so many people through these practices that I developed over the years. And so I ended up producing a world-class audio library. I spent a year and a half working with one of my best buddies who still works with me to this day on Magic Kid stuff. And we produced this world-class audio library, almost 50 tracks. And then I started licensing them to a bunch of different meditation platforms. So different apps and companies would license my tracks. They'd pay outright. They'd pay me per play. They'd pay me annually. One company right here, Mequilibrium, they actually paid me about $35,000 up front to create 10-minute meditations customly. I got non-exclusive rights, so I've been licensing that content, repurposing it on all these different platforms. And then for the last 6 years, they've paid me $12,000 a year every October as the licensing fee to keep the rights to those tracks. I was number one on Mindvalley's Omvana app for over 6 years and running. That generated hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've literally, through these meditation tracks, I've reached millions of people, generated hundreds of thousands of dollars of passive income, and I've never needed to grow an email list or audience. It's all through these app partnerships. And so I created a course last year that's in my Magic Mind. It's a 6-month training, and it teaches you to produce a world-class library and then how to license it. It has a list of over 100 different apps that you could license your audio content to, as well as the outreach email templates that I use to actually get my foot in the door to get these companies to pay attention to me. So highly recommend. There's companies, there's apps, there's institutions, there's teacher trainings out there that you could align with. If you're creating world-class content, they're looking for people like you that you could license your stuff to, and there's so much money available. We just closed 2 massive licensing partnerships with Magic Kids. One of them is in 20,000 libraries and schools. The other one will be reaching hundreds of schools in the California area. We're going to have probably by Christmas upwards of 100,000 families joining our app because of these licensing partnerships, leveraging relationships so that everybody wins. We're bringing something they don't have, they're bringing something we don't have, the audience, and everybody's walking away a winner. So as long as the quality of your content is good, which is what we teach in Magic Media, then people are going to pay attention, and you can create all these strategic alliances and licensing partnerships that can pay you monthly, quarterly, outright, annually. They all have their own ways that they do it, and you might have to negotiate, but it's pretty incredible what you're doing, what you can do with through licensing partnerships. So next up, guest appearances. Everybody talks about go do podcast appearances. I used to guest blog all the time back in my meditation days, and that's how I grew my email list back then, was through writing articles every week and then submitting to 50 different platforms, and usually 3 to 5 would pick it up. But I would say podcasting is very ineffective. It's effective for the long run of getting the word out there in your industry, but it's ineffective for growing your audience. And I'll give you an example. Last year, I was interviewed on the $100 MBA podcast. We had 120,000 downloads in the first week. And I was like, holy shit, this is going to grow my email list exponentially. I couldn't wait. And then I checked. I grew by 20 people that week. I taught this same workshop you're at today to that same audience 2 weeks later, and my email list grew by over 500 people. So you do the math. The reason people don't join your email list after a podcast is because they're passive. They're washing dishes, they're driving in the car. At the end of it, your host will graciously ask, where can people find out more info, or do you have anything cool coming up? And you say, yeah, come over to my website. Here's a workshop. Here's a free thing. But they're passive. They're not fully there with you. Like we're all here present with each other right now in this moment. And so they're just going to go on to the next podcast episode, or they're just going to keep driving, and that'll be that. And then they'll forget about you. They might be inspired in the moment, which is a good thing. And then if your name comes up again in the future, there'll be some name recognition. But in the moment, it doesn't convert well. So my strategy that I do is I reach out to podcast hosts and I say, hey, I see you take guests. Can I teach this workshop to your audience? And they will either say, yes, I would love to host that workshop. And you say, great. Do you want to have me on the podcast ahead of time so your audience gets to know me? And then we can promote the free workshop that's coming up after. And then they'll be like, sure. Or they get back and say, no, I'm not interested in hosting the workshop, but I'd love to have you on my podcast. So it's a win-win either way. That's been my strategy. It's worked very, very well. So podcasts, guest interviews, that sort of thing, it's a great strategy. But again, just listen to what I said. Reach out about the signature workshop and then upsell to the podcast or downsell to the podcast. Much more effective. Next, profit sharing. So I've experimented with so many different business models. At Magic Media, I stopped doing client work about 5 years ago. We don't do client work. I'll do coaching and consulting, but we used to do these like huge $50,000 plus projects, $100,000 plus projects, and it was exhausting for me. I didn't enjoy it anymore. And we get to the end of the project, I'd be so pooped, all my energy be drained, and I'd have to recover. And it finally dawned on me that the reason I was so drained was not the work. It was that it was a fixed outcome and a fixed reward system. So it didn't matter how hard I worked, because no matter what, I would get paid the same thing. And so then I flipped my business model for Majik Media, and instead we do revenue share. So somebody will work with us, we'll build them an online community, a membership, we'll do a launch, we'll help them revamp their media, all sorts of different scenarios. And they'll pay us a retainer for a specific amount of time, and then we'll do a revenue share for anywhere from a year and a half to 3 years, depending on what the project is. And my team and I can do absolutely anything. So we've done tons of different projects. We actually have 6 case studies that are in the works right now, from the last year. But we'll do all sorts of really cool projects, and then we rev share. And instead of these like short-term 6-month projects, it's now an extended period of time where we get to climb a mountain together again and again and again, and keep refining and improving and learning and growing and making the thing that we're building better and better and better. And that's been amazing. Revenue share stuff has really changed my business and made me much more passionate because it rewards my entrepreneurial spirit, which I'm sure many of you can resonate with. Next is collaborative. Um, Actually, I got to go back to profit sharing because our Magic Kids model is actually based on profit sharing. So we have the most amazing audio stories. I have a team of producers. We've worked with almost 100 voice actors. We like our producers score all the music and sound effects. We have close to 100 musicians with over 700 songs licensed. We create curriculum, so we work with our team of educators to create curriculum around every story to help kids integrate the lessons and themes. Um, and all of this is through a revenue share model. So we're the first fair pay publishing company. And what that means is up to 50% of our revenue goes into an artist pool. And that is split amongst our voice actors, our authors, illustrators, our producers, musicians, meditation guides, etc. And they get paid based on the pool amount and how many engagements are happening with their content. And it's very similar model to what I've learned from the different meditation apps, but a lot of apps out there are putting about 30% of their pool. We're putting 50%. And so that is how we've been so prolific at creating so much content in just a few years since we launched. Not even a few years, 2.5 years since we launched, and the app just went live earlier this year. So profit sharing is amazing. Try and find the way that you can recruit the talent and everybody wins. So next up, now we're going to go to the next one. Collaborations. I never would have built my company to be what it is if it wasn't for collaborations. So again, I mentioned the story about my buddy Blair and I producing my meditation library. We did that as a collaboration. I gave him a percentage of the sales and we were partners on it. When I did the Great E-Course Adventure, that was also a collaboration. I partnered with my 2 buddies and we all split the revenue that we generated from that endeavor. With the Craft and Tour Signature Workshop, collaboration. Tad has a huge audience. He has 20, 25,000 people on his email list. And we collaborated. We're sharing the workload. We're sharing the marketing load. And it's been a huge success with the launch. Finding people that you love who have complementary skill sets. You're like, hey, let's create a workshop. Let's create a training. When I used to do retreats around the world, let's collaborate. I always collaborated on those retreats so that we could share the marketing, share the workload. It's more fun when you're doing it together. And then we just find the win-win on what's the right revenue split based on the amount of work and the amount of pull that we're both bringing to the project. So find ways to collaborate. Write it down right now. Who is somebody in your life that you love that you think would be really fun and profitable to collaborate with? And reach out to them in the next 24 hours and say, I have an idea. Can we book a call? I want to brainstorm a collaboration possibility. It could be for an in-person thing, which I'm doing more and more of these days, especially with Play Chi Ball. We launch our Chi Ball League tonight on Salt Spring Island. We did a big festival on Sunday. And with Magic Kids, we have a writer's room that we get together every Tuesday, which is starting as soon as we're done this call today, where my team of writers and I, we all work on our stories together. It's very collaborative. It's so fun. So find ways to collaborate, find somebody to do a collaboration with, and you'll just see magic unfold. It's like alchemy. When you mix your ingredients together, you create something that cannot be done on your own. Next, affiliate marketing. I'm sure you're all familiar with this. Affiliate marketing works great when you're really freaking organized. You got to have a media page. You got to have it really easy for people to be able to promote your stuff. So if you can do that, affiliate marketing is awesome. People will promote your stuff and they get a share of the revenue that's generated from whatever it is that they're promoting. So for example, with our signature workshop training, we had a handful of affiliates help us to spread the word. When they said, yes, I'd be happy to share it, I sent them to this media page. This media page, a little intro, a little bit about the launch, how to get their affiliate set up, how to promote. We had a bunch of promotional emails that were all in one spot that they could copy paste and put their own links, social media posts, same thing, some extra resources that they could be posting, graphics and banners, and then little bios and all the information and links that they need. It's all in one spot. Very easy for somebody to just get what they need, spend a little bit of time pre-scheduling the emails, and then they're good to go. So if you're going to do affiliate marketing, just make sure you're organized so you don't waste people's time. Affiliate marketing works great if you're doing it like that. Next up, sponsorships. This is something Magic Kids is exploring right now, is how do we partner with aligned brands and companies? And you could do that as well. I know a guy who's a part of our Magic Mind community, and he had a podcast, he was doing a summit, and he ended up getting like a $10,000 sponsorship plus a whole bunch of free gear from a company just to have their name attached to every single one of the summit episodes or sessions. So sponsorships are great, especially if you're doing stuff locally. Local businesses. For our festival last weekend, we had 8 different sponsors contribute, and it was epic. Like, we got so much free food, free drinks, free headsets for our Magic Kids stories, free DJs from our Dance Temple community. Guayaki Yerba Mate served drinks. One of our local, the Salt Spring Exchange was like our local classifieds. They gave us so much free publicity. Amazing partnerships locally to bring the community together. Next, strategic partnerships. So with Magic Kids, we just closed Soul Shop. So this is a amazing social emotional learning organization down in the California area. So all of their school programs that they sell now include this Magic Kids app for all their teachers and all the students. So all those families will be getting the app in the coming weeks, which is very exciting for us. It's going to be a really huge growth surge for us. We have a headphone company that does like play stories through their headphones. We're looking at a partnership with them. A baby stroller company that wants to license exclusively, so all their strollers have they have an app for their strollers, like an AI baby stroller. And Magic Kids will be streaming through all their app with the built-in speakers. There's no screens in their strollers. Don't worry about that. We're working on a big partnership to license to all of the libraries across British Columbia and Manitoba and Canada. Homeschool hubs, like there's one of our plans with Magic Kids. It's really hard to get individual customers at mass unless you're spending a fortune. But what I've learned through partnerships is if we can find a few of these key strategic partners, like another one we just closed with playaway.com, you can check them out. We're able to reach tens of thousands of locations, schools, libraries, etc., military bases through that one partnership. And that's going to create some enormous growth and revenue and royalties for our artists from one relationship to many customers. Think like that. When you think in relationships, how do you get 10 relationships to make all your dreams come true and you to make all their dreams come true? By working together. Free Coaching Fridays. This was an experiment I started last October. Every Friday, I create 2.5 hours worth of free coaching slots. If you stay till the end, I'm going to post the link that you can use. And those free coaching Fridays fill up most weeks, where I'll just do back to back 15-minute laser focused coaching sessions. And that's been amazing to meet the people on my email list and to serve and support them. It's also generated a whole bunch of revenue for me. Because I'm not on social media, I'm happy to spend 2 hours a week or 2.5 hours a week doing like 7 or 8 laser focused coaching sessions for people. Everybody forgets about telling their family and friends to promote them, but your family and friends probably know people who are people that could use your services. So don't be afraid to send a text message and email, especially when you're just getting started. Humble yourself and ask for help from family and friends. Be like, here's what I'm doing right now, because they might have no idea. You might be the black sheep like I was, and your parents can't even explain what you do. But explain to them, this is what I do and who I'm looking to help. Do you know anybody that has these things that they need help with? I'm like, oh yeah, Gladys could use your support. And she'll send Gladys your email, and then you're getting a referral from family, and they'll obviously trust that. And there you go. You got some clients coming in. Next, YouTube Shorts. I love making YouTube videos. I don't look at YouTube as social media. It's entertainment and education for me. And so I make YouTube Shorts for a golf channel I have for Body Mind Swing. I make YouTube Shorts for Majik Kids. And then with Chi Ball, Play Chi Ball, you can find us at Play Chi Ball. We're making really fun content over there as well. Next, comedy ads. So Majik Kids, we partnered with the Harmon Brothers last year. Harmon Brothers is one of the most prolific comedy ads agencies in the world. They did the Squatty Potty commercial. They have so many, they've done multiple billions of views through their comedy ad campaigns. And so always wanted to work with them. And then we ended up partnering with them last year. They support us to write 31 comedy ads. So I'll just give you a quick sneak peek. We've had over 2 million views from our comedy ads, and we've spent less than $10,000. So this one here, that's my son Soren. This one's been our most popular so far. It still grows by between 10 and 75,000 views per month. So here it is.
Hello, class! Welcome to Play University! Today we're gonna unlock the power of play!
I'd rather unlock the power of a good nap.
First, we're gonna pretend we're in a castle surrounded by dragons! I see we need an easier game. We're now gonna play a game called This Is Not a Banana! Watch and learn. Love right! Zing, zing, zing! Your turn, Mom!
This is a banana.
Dad?
It's boomerangs! That was kind of fun.
This is a challenging case. We're gonna have to bring out the big guns.
Majik Kids, audio stories, music, and imagination meditations.
And fun activities too!
Something I didn't mention is my son's my business partner. He's our creative director. Building the app was literally his idea when he was 5.5. And so I've always been a big fan of comedy. I feel like if you can make people smile, they'll stay with you a while. If you can make them laugh till they cry, they'll pull out their wallet and buy. Those comedy ads, we had so much fun building them. They really created synergy. My team of comedy writers that I worked with from my main Majik Kids team, they're now part of my Majik Kids writers room team, a bunch of them. And so they're all writing children's stories now as a result of the 9 months of writing that we did for the comedy ads. It's such a fun way to grow your business and create resonance, obviously, if it's industry appropriate for the work that you're doing. So really, really awesome way to build your biz and get creative is make comedy. Next, workshop tours. When I was doing my meditation stuff, my most successful revenue stream was to pick a city, go do 5 intro workshops, which now I'd call signature workshops. If you're doing your signature workshop, if you're doing it online, it's 60 minutes and it's free. You're growing your email list. If you're doing it in person, you could do a 90-minute to a 2-hour version of the same workshop, just have more space for breakout rooms and stuff, and you could charge money for that. So that's what I would do. I would charge money for these meditation intro workshops. I would do 5 or 6 over the course of 5 days. And then I would do a day-long workshop on the weekend that I'd charge a bunch more money. Usually about 20% of the people will come to that. And then I would sell my audio library at all those sessions for 40% off if people bought that night. And 60% of the people that came to my intro workshop will buy. And I would come home, my pockets would be lined with cash. And it was great. So pick a city. Do it as an experiment. Figure out a workshop. Go do 5 of them in a city. Find the wellness centers or the work hubs. Find the places where your people are and do a bunch and see how that goes for you. I used to have a lot of fun doing that. Here's a bunch. I'm just going to skim over these ones. Press releases. When was the last time you sent out a local press release about the work you're doing? So if you have a physical product selling in retail stores, markets and trade shows, almost like 90% of our book sales, maybe 95% of our book sales over the last few years of Magic Kids have come through markets and trade shows. Finding local partners and events like the festival we just launched, big community service, really grew our Magic Kids stuff as well because Magic Kids sponsored it. And then audience contests. So I'll go back to the generosity marketing. When we launched Magic Kids, we gave away 500 books. But we didn't just give them out to random people. This was actually how we got our foot in the door with the Harmon brothers, who never would have paid attention to us. They're way too huge to pay attention to a small company like Magic Kids that was just getting off the ground. But I reached out to them. I was like, we love what you do. You've inspired me for years, and we're going to make comedy. But ultimately, we just want to say thank you for the amazing work you're all doing. Can we send all the parents on your team a box of books? Like, that's so generous. Of course you can send all the parents on our team a box of books. So we sent 120 books down to the Harmon Brothers team, which began a conversation. And I ended up having 5 conversations trying to court the business operations manager and comedian at Harmon Brothers to please take us under their wing and guide us to make comedy. And after 3 conversations, they said no. And I didn't take no as an answer. I begged them. I said, please, like, make up a thing. Just consult with us. Like, what can we do? We want to work with you. We know we need to work with you. And so finally, they rented out one of their top comedians. They're probably their best comedian, Ryan, who we worked with for 9 months. And it was such a joy. We learned so much. And yeah, the rest is history. So how can social media work? I'm not saying get off social media. In fact, Play Chi Ball, my business partner at Play Chi Ball, he's a storyteller, a media maker. He loves social media, so we're all over social media. You can follow us on Instagram. You'll see my mug on social media over on Instagram now because of Play Chi Ball and the work my business partner and I are doing there. He's an incredible videographer. So we've got some really epic content we'll be rolling out over there. But here's how it does work. Have a clear strategy. We have a strategy. Have a publishing schedule. Be disciplined. Don't be looking at that wall. That's why it's not working. That's why I'm not the guy to be doing all that work. And hire a team if you must. Get somebody else to do that for $25 an hour. There's other people out there that love being on social media, and you can pay them a low wage and they can be managing your stuff. I like to hire local. Most of my team is all local. We can do work days like we're going to be doing here today. And then make your work art. This is my next signature workshop I'm working on right now with the group that's going through our training that's happening, is turning your life's work into a work of art, because that's been the biggest game changer for me that makes my work feel like play. And it's helped me stand out with Magic Media and everything that we've been able to do with Magic Kids, Play Chi Ball, and all the trainings that I do and the clients that we work with. So make your work art so you stand out in that sea of sameness, and so people want to pay attention and they find resonance in the work you do. If you love elements of social media, we use Mighty Networks. We built somewhere between 18 and 20 Mighty Networks over the last 4 or 5 years. And Mighty Networks is great. There's others like Circle out there. School is another new one that seems to be popping up, where you can, we use Mighty Networks because you can have your forum, you can have different spaces for courses, communities, sub-communities. We built a Mighty Network for our Play Chi Ball leagues, so every time we pop up a new league, they will get their own their own Mighty Network space to be able to run their community events while being connected to a global community of Chi Ballers. You can live stream inside of there, have events, etc. I love it because it's a blank canvas and there's infinite possibilities. Next, my invitation to you all today is to give yourself a gift, reevaluate your marketing strategy, decide if it's working for your business and for your lifestyle right now. Spend a day or even half a day making a new plan in the next week. Like, book off a 3, 4, 5 hour chunk of time, go for a long walk, come up with a new plan based on what you learned today. Leave social media if you must, or hire somebody to manage it. And I would say most importantly is to protect your consciousness. You know, it feels like there's literally a psychological and spiritual war that's happening, and it's all happening on social media. So protect your brain. Do what you must, and find ways that you can connect with real humans, because it's just like, we got to stay sane. We need to stay creative and inspired. And a lot of what we're doing on social media is an energy, time, and focus suck. that's taking us away from the purpose and the passions that we have. And you got to reclaim that. You really have to you have to say fuck no or fuck yes. What is your answer? And for me, it got to the point where it was finally my fuck no. I'm out of here. I'm finding another way. And that's what every single strategy I've shared with you today, we've implemented in the last 12 months with Majik Media. These are all things we're actively doing. I highly recommend you join our signature workshop training. If you don't have a signature workshop, we're going to help you get it done. By December 5th, you will have facilitated your first signature workshop, and you're going to be touring it for all of 2025. You'll have that strategy in place in your pocket, and you'll be taking it on tour. And join my Magic Mind if that's a better way for you to do it. Okay, so I've got this free PDF here. I'm going to grab the link now. And while I grab that link, I just want to get you to take 2 minutes to reflect. Share in the chat. What are the top 2 strategies that you're going to take away today and implement in the next 2 months? You give it 2 months, 2 full months of like a full try on the top 2 strategies you learned today that I shared. And then we'll do 10 minutes of Q&A for anybody that wants to stay a little bit extra. So I'm going to grab those links. You reflect on your top strategies.
Can I share something in the meantime, Bradley, or should we wait for people to?
Yeah, you go for it. Go for it.
So, well, obviously, this was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much once again. I was blown away by your expertise and your deep knowledge in this. And I think that to some people, this might seem like a big list of random strategies that you could be doing. What the hell happened?
I don't know.
Weird.
I've never seen that before.
It's magic. So, okay. So, yeah, it might seem like a bunch of random strategies for some people, right? And it might seem overwhelming, but I think one of the key points that you said just a few minutes ago is that, yes, social media or these strategies can work when you have the correct mindset and intention. I think the key reason why people should get off social media, or at least significantly tone it down unless they like really mastered it, is because it gives you more white space in order to focus on the big picture stuff, on the correct mindset and intention, and to choose the 2 strategies that will work for you instead of just hoping, like kind of like a slot machine, for some sort of instant validation on social media, which may or may not result in likes and follows and shares and whatever, but that won't transform into like real money or real value in people's lives. So all the things that Bradley shared during his presentation, I could totally resonate with. And I feel like if you just look one step deeper, it's not about just getting off social media because it's not a working tactic or anything like that. It's about prioritizing on other things that not just work better, but can put you in the right frame of mind, and focusing on the connection element. And especially in the world of like ChatGPT and AI, those tools are super helpful. But people crave real life connections, right? Yeah. And you can see the effect of like if you just unlock, like one person like at the beginning of this presentation said that they're spending like 7 hours on social media per week. Imagine putting that time, 28 hours per month, into just 1 or 2 of these strategies. I can promise you it's gonna be like a huge breakthrough for you.
It would change your life. It would absolutely change your life if you say put 28 hours into outreach for your signature workshop, deliver your signature workshop, build your media pages, all the things. Like if you put that 28 hours just into that one strategy, or same thing, if you've got this big library of content that is a perfect leverageable asset that you could license, you put that 28 hours into finding the hubs that you could reach out to license the apps, the institutions, the companies, teacher trainings, etc., and trying to find those strategic alliances. Again, it would change your world.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask them. Just leave it in the chat, or I don't know whether you can raise your hand. I think it's not, because it's not a webinar, it's a group.
I think you can raise your hand. I think you can raise your hand. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking of the Q&A, box. You can raise your hand, but you can also like post it in the chat if you're not willing to like come on as like someone who wants to ask a question. I think Bradley covers so many great things, and obviously, like most of these strategies is just the tip of the iceberg, because all these can go way, way, way deeper down the rabbit hole.
I was
But
trying to give you a smorgasbord.
Yeah.
The most
Yeah.
important thing to walk away with today is to take a step back and say, how can you focus more on relationship cultivation? How can you design a strategy where instead of needing 10,000 people on your email list or 100,000 people following you on social media, how do you only need 5 or 10 or 12 strategic relationships and alliances to make all your dreams come true?
Yeah, totally.
That's it.
Yeah, so I see like Gabriel Shaw raised his hand. I don't know if I can unmute him. Maybe Bradley, you're the one who can.
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. Yeah, you like offered me the option to unmute. That was nice. Hi, Bradley. Thank you. Thanks for the workshop. Really appreciate it. And yeah, it's just nice to see you and get to hear a little bit more about this training. I do have a bunch of questions, but I'm going to just save for two for now and see if other people want to jump in. But the two questions I have is I don't really use social media that much, but I do feel like some pressure to have stuff up there because I've heard it's like one of the first places kind of people look at your business for sort of legitimacy or like just information about your brand. And so my kind of bigger question is how do you consider that? Like people are looking up your brands and they want to see, just kind of some information about your brand, your kind of brand identity, the ethos and that kind of thing. They might go to social media. How do you think about that? The other question is like about LinkedIn and if you have any other just thoughts about LinkedIn, but I'll leave it there for now. Thank you.
Great question. I mean, that was my biggest fear when I left social was would I still be relevant if I wasn't on these platforms? And so what I found is that I'm still highly relevant. And yes, people will search you up on social media, but it leads to a really interesting conversation when you tell them you don't do social media. I've only met a few unicorns over the year that are like, I'm not on social. And I'm like, me too. Way to go. And then we exchange secrets. I'm like, well, how are you growing? It all comes down to relationships. I mean, if you have a beautiful presence, you can have a blog, you could do YouTube, you can have a podcast, you can show off workshops. Like there's lots of other ways to show that you have street cred. You can have testimonials. If you go to our partnerships page on my Majik Media website, you see all these beautiful case studies that we put together of people that we've worked with, clients, partners, etc. And those tell incredible stories that don't require social media street cred. I think more and more people are like, because you could buy a bot, you could go on Fiverr.com and you could get 10,000 bots to like your page and follow you. There's a lot less credibility in the social media realm than there used to be of like, oh wow, you have 10,000 followers. That's pretty impressive. It was like, yeah, I paid $100 to get 10,000 bots to follow me on social media. So I wouldn't worry so much about that. I think the most important thing we should all be focused on is like keep our heads down and just keep doing the damn work that we're here to do. If like if we're playing a forever game, if we can just like open ourselves up to be like, we figured out what the hell we're supposed to do on this planet. We're playing a forever game. Just keep doing the thing and keep serving the people. Keep showing up so that everybody sees you as a sturdy pillar to rely on and lean on. Then your business is going to grow no matter what.
Yeah, that's a great response. I want to add one more thing to that, Gabriel. Yeah, so like it doesn't mean that you should like totally axe the whole idea of social media. I think in terms of like a proof element, it's very powerful. Just think of me and my YouTube channel, Game of Conversions, where I have, among other videos, the 100-day proven sales letter breakdown challenge. That's the most evergreen type of content you can ever create. It's going to be just as relevant 50 years from now as is today because it breaks down proven long-form copy written by the greatest copywriters and marketers of all time. So if you could create something like that, that's definitely helpful in just giving people that extra trust signal when they're considering buying something from you. But just don't expect many direct sales from social media. You're going to get that from like regularly emailing your email list and giving people offers they actually care about.
Beautiful.
Cool. So Kelly.
Hopefully we see you in real life sometime. Just across the water. Awesome. Kelly, go for it.
Thank you. I'll be teaching a business class to holistic nutritionists starting next week. And I'm wondering what would be the first thing or first things they should focus on as they graduate and open their businesses, not having an email list or anything like that?
Tip number one is relationship cultivation. How do they build those relationships? Number two, having an email list and communicating regularly with that email list. That would be the second thing. So a lot of people are like, well, I don't have anything to say with my email list. And I say, that's bullshit. If you're a human and you're living your life and you're out in the world and you're touching lives, you got lots to share. You can tell case studies, you can tell stories, you could tell a client story without mentioning who the client is. You can say, I had this person in my office, and here's what they were struggling with, and here's what we focused on, and here was the result that was created by focusing on this. You could tell those stories. You could rant. If you see something in the world that really pisses you off, some of my best posts that got the most traction ever were rants where I was just like, yeah, this drives me nuts that people are still doing this. Because if you bring some fire, that's going to light something that's going to spread and people are going to resonate with that fire. You could get them like what people need to remember in the modern day. If you're working on the internet, if you're trying to grow an audience, grow authority, find clients to work with you, like, yes, first and foremost, we're a practitioner, you're a healer, you're doing this work for the greater good of people's health and their wellness. And it's 2024, baby. You also have a media company. You are a media maker. And people need to find the way that they love making media the most. Do you like audio? Like, what do you listen to? What do you consume? What do you find the easiest and most enjoyable to create? Is it writing? Is it audio? Is it comedy? Is it coming up with videos? Is it going for a walk and just holding your camera up and talking to the camera? Um, for me, like I said earlier, around the email marketing thing is like I'll record my Magic Mind sessions in my community. I'll record these little 5 to 10 minute sermons, and then that becomes my YouTube content. It becomes podcast episodes. So like leveraging what you most enjoy doing so that it's easy and it's not like, oh God, I have to make a newsletter. So we should find our joy in our work. So newsletter would be one thing. And if they're practitioners and they're going to be working out of a space, uh, spaces are for community. So how do they create community where they are doing open houses, doing events, doing like little mini wellness festivals, like bring the humans together so that they can do the healing together. And that will no doubt create clients. How's that?
Thank you so much. That's great.
Should we do one more question?
Awesome. Thank you for the question, Kelly.
Yeah, it's great.
So yeah, it's time for one more question. Then we have to let Bradley go. He's been so generous with his time already. But if you have one more question, then feel free. Now's the time.
And the recording
don't be shy.
The recording will be posted. I'll send it out in a newsletter, but it'll be up later today on my YouTube channel there that you can check
And I'll also
out.
send out a link with it, you guys.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So going once, going twice. Don't be shy, guys. Now's the time. As you can see, you're getting some cool feedback.
We're here.
Yeah.
All right. We got another. Go for it.
Gabriel, my man.
Yeah, go for it, Gabriel.
All right, thank you. I'm curious about how you think about YouTube. You kind of said you think about YouTube as like entertainment and education, not as social media.
Yeah.
But still, I feel like there's like a similar kind of time suck, like not super effective strategy, self-promotion thing happening over there in terms of consciousness and that kind of thing. So I'm just wondering how you think about your YouTube presence, the time you spend on YouTube, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I like YouTube. I think my reason for liking it, the first video I ever posted on YouTube went viral back in 2007. I made a video with a couple buddies called the Gratitude Dance. It was literally, we made our account, same day we made our first post. It went viral and I had speaking tours for 2 years. And so I like YouTube. I think it's a cool platform. I don't necessarily align with the politics of YouTube and certain choices they're making around censorship and not allowing free speech to flourish. But I feel like there's a great potential on YouTube for building an audience. And YouTube is trying to keep up with TikTok, with YouTube Shorts. So I've seen like with our Magic Kids comedy ads, those are all YouTube Shorts. Not one of them was over 60 seconds. Our YouTube followership has grown by almost 3,000 people, because we're almost at zero followers when we started that campaign. So we've had almost 3,000 join our YouTube following, and about 3 out of 10 people who join the Magic Kids app say it was because of our YouTube videos. So even still, we're not running ads. Those videos are still spreading organically. So if you're having fun creating cool content for your audience, I think like a lot of my videos that I do, like say for Magic Media, that are literally just coaching sermons, those are not building my following. Like I don't see much audience growth. If I do a workshop and somebody promotes that workshop and then I post the recording of that workshop, I get a bunch of followers that will follow my YouTube channel, and I see my views spike up. But if I'm just posting, that's just for my audience that's already following my stuff as a location to find stuff. It's only the videos that I find I put some actual creative energy and forethought into, and I do a good job putting them together, like those comedy videos and other videos that I'll do. Those ones get some organic reach, and all of a sudden I'll see like a spike of like, okay, that was worth the energy. So if you're going to do YouTube, holding the camera and just doing a talking head video is probably not going to get you a lot of growth. But if you're going to get creative and you're going to write a script and storyboard it and come up with an interesting concept and maybe do B-roll and music and like spend some energy doing it because that's your passion and you like making media in that way, then I think you have a chance at actually getting people to stop at your video, click on it, and watch it all the way through, and then potentially follow you and maybe end up buying some stuff. Does that make sense?
That's a great tip. Thanks for sharing that, Gabriel. I'm gonna actually probably create like a workshop on like how to create authority content for YouTube and scale that so that it's evergreen and it gives people that aura of credibility. So yeah, but it's a great tip that Bradley shared.
A great question. Yeah, and again, it's like just throwing a net out there and hoping you catch something. There's less guarantees in YouTube. I like making art, and so YouTube is an outlet for me to make art from time to time. But my biggest returns on my investments are investments in relationships, and that's the moral of the story today that everybody can walk away from is invest in relationships and you get the greatest returns. And here is in the chat one more time, there's a bunch of links there that you can click on, and these will also be in the email that I send out if anything resonated. And obviously y'all got my email if you're on my newsletter, so you can reach out and ask any questions that might come up afterwards. And the last link there should be one that you can book a free 15-minute coaching session with me if anybody wants to get together and work on a personal strategy based on what we talked about today.
Wow, that's very generous of you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. This is fun.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, so thanks everyone for joining us and showing up. We had more than 30 people, 34 I think, during most of the workshop. I really appreciate your time, guys. I really appreciate Bradley that he was able to come on as a guest speaker and be so generous with his time. So thank you so much, Bradley. Really enjoyed it. Thank you. And then yeah, talk to you soon.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Thanks for hosting. Looking forward to reciprocating.